Welcome, my friends, to It's Vinylly Mine. Mark the Movie Man here, and I've got a couple of vinyl albums that I wanted to go over with you today. We got a lot of stuff to cover. First, we're going to be covering the 1977 original release of Star Wars: The Motion Picture. Yes, the motion picture soundtrack of Star Wars. We'll be looking at this album and seeing what goodies are inside it, and we'll also be talking about the limited edition picture disc set that came out just a couple years ago. So, first off, though, let's talk about the 1977 release. Now, this is released by 20th Century Record label. It is number 2T-541. Yes, this is the original 1977 release, which was recorded at Anvil Recording Studios and mastered in the Mastering Lab. It was remixed at the Burbank Studios, I believe, and it was pressed by Columbia Records Pressing in Terre Haute. But enough about the technical aspects. Let's take a closer look at this classic soundtrack. So let's snap to it, shall we? Okay, so here we have the album of Star Wars, the original motion picture soundtrack, composed and conducted by John Williams. Just a flat black background with the white Star Wars lettering, which I always enjoyed this. You know, sometimes they get too complicated, but here they just keep it simple, and it really stands out for you on your shelf. And then on the back of this album, I thought was really cool is this awesome artwork of Vader's helmet against the starry background. Always loved that shot, and thought it really makes for an interesting difference between the front and back of this album, and just a great shot here. So as you can see, this is the original 1977 release of the album, and if we open it up, here's what I talked about with The Last Jedi, where before we opened it up and it was just one scene, here we actually have an assemblage of different promo shots and such from the film. So you get that iconic first entrance of Darth Vader, you know, Luke fighting the Sand People, really great photos in here of the film to help you remember some of the finer scenes in the movie, some of the most memorable ones. And also, these are shots that do go with the soundtrack as well. So I always enjoyed the pictures that they put with inside this album, and they always look really good, and the one that I got here was in really good condition. Now, if we take out the record, here we have just the basic 20th Century Records sleeve, and we have on the vinyl, we have side one, of course, with the 20th Century label. I really liked it, but when you get this record, if you do ever get it, you're going to look at side one and then flip it over and go, wait a minute, shouldn't this be side two? But it says side four. We'll get to that in just a little bit of why they did that. It's very interesting, I always thought. So that's the one record. There are two records in this set, and this one I found out after I bought it, it actually has the liner notes with this as well, which I thought was just awesome. Here, written by John Williams, he gives a bit description of the themes that he had here for, you know, Luke and Ben Kenobi and Vader's theme and Princess Leia's theme, plus little descriptions for each of the tracks. And then on the other side as well, you get the credits from the film in that, some more thoughts from Williams, as well as, yeah, just some great stuff here, some really cool archive stuff on the liner notes, and so I was really happy to find this on in this album still, because usually these are destroyed on these older albums. But on this album as well, the second one, as I mentioned, just like with the other one, what we ended up having is side 2 and a side 3. And you're like, okay, Mark, what the hell? Was there some misprint? Did they just get things backwards? The reason for this is, well, it's because of auto-changing record players. Now, there's not as many, I don't think, sold today as there were before, but they were record players with a longer stock on them, longer post, excuse me, so you could actually stack your records and play more than one. So, you know, in case you have someone come over for vinyl and chill back in 1977, you didn't have to get up and switch the discs right away, and that's what they did here with the record player. You would take actually side 1, which has side 4 on it, put that first, and then on top of it, put it side 2, side 3 on it. So what would end up happening is when the record would when the record 1 was done playing, it would automatically drop the music for record 2, and it would keep going. This auto-coupled, I believe the term is. I'm still learning about some of this stuff. But so you would have the continuous tracks in order of way they were in the film, and you didn't have to get up and flip the record so many times. And then, of course, when you were done with side 2, you would take side 3 and then side 4 and stack it this way, and then again it wouldn't interrupt your evening as much waiting to flip over the records. And so that's why they printed it like that, and I always found it very interesting. And I also find it that it relates to the limited edition release that we're going to cover right after this break, so stay tuned. Hey, all my movie maniacs, why don't you check out Central Battery Music Works? Yes, the website of our composer who makes music tracks just like the one you're hearing underneath our episode today. There's a lot of great stuff there, so why don't you head on over there when you're done watching our video. Now, back to the show. Okay, so here we have the limited edition of the Star Wars original motion picture soundtrack from Episode 4, A New Hope. This was released in September 23rd, 2016. The label is Sony Classic, a number of other labels as well. It was licensed to Sony Music Entertainment, and it was actually pressed by GZ Media. Now, there's nothing too fancy with the packaging. Of course, you want the clear sleeves here, the durable plastic sleeves, I will say, for, to show off the images. Label at the top just gives the title of the music and who it was scored by, and then on the back, it gives the track listing. And these are really cool, as you can see. Here we have this side A, we have the Death Star, and then you've got that really cool picture like we saw in the back of the 1977 album of Vader against the starry background. And then, of course, that classic iconic shot of Han Solo and Chewbacca from the film on the third side. And side D is the battle of the artwork, the original concept art for the battle at Yavin. Now, what I found interesting, though, is this was the limited release. They were, hyping it up, and while they labeled side A, side B, side C, and side D, they did not do the dual part like they did with the original release of this soundtrack. They just put them in order, so you have to flip the records over. So that was a little disappointing, and I know a bit nitpicky, but still, I would have liked to see them do it just like they did with the original pressing, because I thought that would have been a nice little extra homage to the original soundtrack. But there you have it, folks. The printed discs from 2016 that were a limited edition, gorgeous set. Any collector should have this in their collection. The soundtrack is taken from the original masters, so the sound on the records as well is pristine. And that'll about do it for us here on It's Vinylly Mine. Hope you didn't mind the extended episode that we did covering these two albums, which I do love a lot. We got a lot of great stuff that I'm hoping to bring to the show. In fact, stay tuned, because in our next episode that will be coming up later this month, I'll be covering a special Star Wars album I have. It has to do with Return of the Jedi that I think you'll find interesting. So you want to stay tuned for that. Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Head over to our Patreon if you want to get early access to It's Vinylly Mine episodes and other exclusive content. You'll even be able soon to vote for which album I'm going to cover next on It's Vinylly Mine. I'm working out the details with that, so head on over there. Doesn't cost that much, and it'd really help us out quite a bit. I thank you for your support, and until next time, remember, it's not yours, it's Vinylly Mine. See you on the flip side.